Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Culture and the Cross, where we talk about the happenings going on in our church. We talk about what we see on social media, and then questions that need answers. And we're your hosts. I'm Artra.
I'm Corey.
Yes, and before we get started, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to not miss another episode. Okay? Alrighty. So let's jump in with the happenings.
The happenings. So we weren't at church on Sunday. We were having a good old time gallivanting around DMV.
It was the best time.
It was great.
It was the best. It was not at all restful, but
no, it wasn't restful.
It was good to see friends and family.
It was. We went up to the DMV area, DC, Maryland, Virginia. I think we literally were in all three of those places.
We were.
Over the course of 4 days or so. And saw some family.
Yeah.
Saw friends.
Yeah.
Old and new friends. Well, a lot of old friends. Family, hung out. But the best thing I think was, I was watching a video earlier, was that we was full-blown tourists on about Thursday.
I loved it.
We legit did tourist activities in DC. If you've never done it, it's going to see monuments and walking on the National Mall. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I like seeing, like, we've done it before, but I like seeing it through like our kids, like how they get excited when they see stuff, and like, you know, I love that. Yeah,
we hadn't walked the DC area down there by the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial since 2016. That was the last time we did that. Our daughter was not even 1 year old. She was a few months, 4 or 5 months old. And we were in town and just hanging out in between a PCS for Archer in the military. Yeah. And we decided to just go do the DC thing, you know, where you walk the monuments. So if you're not from, East Coast or have never done it, I grew up doing it a couple times.
Yeah, me too.
My family, you live closer, so
yeah. And so sometimes even on like field trips, that's where we would go, to DC. So like, and then family live in DC, so it was great.
So if you live close, you typically at some point in life do let's go see the monuments or the Smithsonian Museum, which we didn't go to specifically, but we went to the African American History Museum.
Yes, and if you have not been to that, you should definitely go.
You should.
You should definitely go to that.
It was really great. It was very thorough, a lot of history. One of my favorites was the floor, because it was in different levels with all the music stuff. I mean, I
loved the music one.
The amount of Black music and just the influence of Black people in music, culture, and entertainment, music specifically in our country is... Yeah. I mean, just so many eras and influential voices and people from every decade, just from every genre, rock and roll, hip hop, jazz, even Black people have had such an impact on the music and so much good music over our lifetime. So I thought that was really cool.
And I think that the museum was made to go from the bottom to the top.
Was it really?
Well, I'm thinking, how we saw it.
Yeah.
I feel like it would have made sense to go from bottom to top. We went, however, top to bottom.
We did. Yeah. Yeah. So the top floor was like, what did we start with?
We started with...
The top floor was
with
like...
music and culture.
Yeah, and I think it did go bottom to top because the top floor started with like... the more recent stuff.
It was
protest. It kind of started there. It kind of started.
It did the Black Lives Matter and all that. It kind of started
there. And then
George Floyd.
Stuff. Yeah, that was like, I feel like the first thing we saw.
So and then the very bottom was the Atlantic slave trade and like all that. So I think you were actually supposed to start. From the bottom. You can
work your way back. I mean, it's fine. I thought it was fine.
I think so.
It wasn't chronological, but the top did. I remember starting with like the protests.
Yeah, it was the newer.
Going from there.
Yeah, most recent events.
Yeah, then the next floor down was like the it was like sports.
Yes.
Was it sports and music down there? I think.
Yes.
That the same floor? I think it was 2 different floors. That's 2 different floors.
I don't even know. It was way too many floors.
I think the second part down was the music and stuff. It was music.
Then there was a whole floor dedicated to like TV shows.
Yeah.
And movies.
It was movies and stuff. There was a section with sports. I mean, It was a lot. It was
just
thorough.
a lot.
I mean,
it was a lot.
African American history. It was a lot.
It was a lot of stuff, but it was great, and I enjoyed it. The kids, they liked it a little bit.
Yeah, they liked it a little bit.
They liked it until we started getting to the lower floors, and they really showed like the slavery and like all of that. They got a little overwhelmed by that.
Yeah, a little more slavery, civil rights, like more so like the hard things of it. I mean, truly slavery.
Yeah.
Plantations. I mean, it was in detail. And I think too, just aesthetically, it was like a little dimmer down there. It was a little darker.
It was dark.
So I think that like we honestly, truthfully did not even really get a chance to take in the floor on like the slavery and more so the challenging parts of our history in this country, because by that time the kids were really, our daughter at that point was kind of like, dang, this is like sad. Like, and I could tell. So I really started to kind of move us. Let's just go ahead. Cause I mean, as much as she's a child, she's 8 years old. So I think you need to know, she needs to start knowing, because it's true. And, we've talked about
it is our
scenarios
history
where, our brown skin comes up in conversation on the bus. And,
exactly. And in the classroom already.
It's already, because everybody's not teaching their kids to love themselves like we're teaching ours to love your black skin. And I don't know what people teach their kids at home, because all these racist folks are not dead. These are some people's grandparents and parents and our age. They just undercover don't like you.
Even,
so I know I'm off on a rant, but everybody that is smiling in our faces in these neighborhoods does not like us because of our brown skin. And I want to remind our kids to love themselves. But with that said, I was trying to get to the end of that. But with that said, there's only so much that a child can take. After a while, I think it became just a little too much for her.
Yeah, well, she was really overwhelmed.
Yeah, so we had to kind of move a little. We had to kind of move through the section. So I would maybe go back at another time with just myself or me and Artra to actually read not all the stuff, but a lot of stuff.
I would love to.
We just weren't able to stop and do.
I love a good like plaque. I like reading all the things.
I don't want to read every single word. I'll skim
it.
past some of them, but
I like it.
I just wanted to take in more, maybe the imagery, the pictures, some of the stuff. But it's okay. I thought it was a good experience for all of us.
I agree.
It was really great. It was very thorough. And, it just reminds me of black people have such a rich, challenging, but also a rich history in our country. For whatever it's worth, this is where, this is the only country I know. And I know how I got here, So it's a challenging history. Our people have a challenging history in this country, but also have been able to contribute in some meaningful ways as well. So DC was great.
It was great. But when you said something about like the grandparents or whatever, that reminded me that like, the whole, like, people love to say that Martin Luther King, all this stuff was so long ago.
Right.
But we talked to my grandfather, and he was in his 20s.
Right.
When Martin Luther King was out in D.C. doing the speech or whatever.
Yeah.
He was in his 20s, out living in D.C.
Right.
Doing the tours around D.C. So it really wasn't that long ago. My grandfather is only...
He's 86.
86.
Right.
So it was not that long ago.
So it's not like he's 200 years old. He sat there and talked to him for an hour. He's 80. So yeah,
He told us all about Martin Luther King and what he felt about Malcolm X and all that stuff. Like,
and as I sat there, I was like, oh, we're talking to living history. He is not like dead. He's sitting here talking to us right now about Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, and we think it was like
years and years ago, but it wasn't.
Like it was that long ago. I'm like, this man is sitting here with us,
and
he's not 150. He's 86. He's old, but like he ain't dead.
No,
and he's telling us.
He's actually quite vibrant.
He was alive at the time of Martin Luther King. Like that says a lot, and that tells us that that wasn't that long ago. That's just 2 generations removed.
Yeah.
From Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, civil rights. Like, so I think it's a good reminder for us. Especially here, hey, welcome, Happy Black History Month to all of you listening. In this Black History Month, it's like, man, we're still making history because we still have people that are alive that are very much not forgotten what it was like.
And he was telling us about like the racism when he was in the Air Force and like all that stuff. So
right.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I thought it was great. And so the museum was great. And then we took a walk. The African American History Museum is right across the street from the Washington Monument.
Yep.
So we walked. Basically, we took that walk from the Washington Monument all the way down to the Lincoln Memorial, all the way across to the Martin Luther King statue. So it was a good,
and
it's so little hike.
It's so beautiful because then you look out on the water and you see the Thomas
Jefferson Memorial. Across the pond. Yeah, I don't know
it's so pretty though.
It is,
it's such a DC is pretty. It's a really it's a nice city.
It is, and how they laid out. I actually like doing that kind of tourist walk. We didn't walk the whole thing, but it's just a beautiful strip there. I mean, that view from the monument to the Lincoln and back. This is a beautiful wide open view. People walking, and thankfully we went. It was nice outside. Like
it was nice.
It was nice all the way up until about the time we was leaving the Lincoln and walking to the Martin. It was kind of like the kids were tired of walking.
But we had already walked.
The sun was going down.
Yeah, we had walked already like 3 miles. So
yeah, so it wasn't dark, but the sun wasn't high in the sky. So to where it was like, hey, put your jacket back on, So it started to get a little. It was cold. It wasn't unbearably cold. Like if it was me and you out there, we would have been fine. Like it's cool, but
we could have walked
because of the kids
and looked at the White House.
Yeah, like it started to get like, oh, okay, it's DC in the beginning of end of January. Like it's a nice day, but also nighttime is coming where it's gonna be cold. So all that to say, it was great to be out there, and they got ice cream on the way back to the car while it was cold. So
and then they were even more frozen.
Right. So,
but it was great. Nice. I'm glad we went.
And then after seeing friends, family, we stopped at my friend's church. Pastor Omar, Rock Church, might remember Pastor Omar. He came and preached at our church in October. He's a campus pastor for the Life Church DMV.
It was a great service.
It was great. We were able to be there. Sunday was their 2-year anniversary. So it was great. And it was great. I mean, looked like it was at least twice. It probably looked like maybe twice as many people there as the last time I went.
Oh, that's
which
good.
was in November 2023. So I hadn't been back since, and his church is massively grown. I think I saw a number of maybe 800 in attendance that day on Sunday.
Yeah.
So just amazing growth and impact they're having in DMV area. So shout out to Omar Life Church DMV, man. So it was great. And then after that, got on that road, headed back home. So it was great to be in DC and have some fun. We were just being tourists, really. Went to a basketball game.
Oh, yeah, we did go to the basketball game. We were just doing all types of touristy type things. Like we have never been to DC before.
Right. Basketball games, monuments, museum. Like it was great.
It was the best time. Not at all restful, but it was eventful.
No, it was not
and
restful.
It was fun.
It was fun, but it wasn't restful.
And thankfully, we did not catch a lot of traffic. So I'm very thankful.
It wasn't too bad. Not on the way back.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
On the way there was not awful.
It wasn't bad on the way there either.
Yeah.
But anyway, I feel like we got, but I think times we were driving, it's just like we weren't driving at like chaotic times either.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So, but I feel like we saw the traffic like coming back.
Oh
it's
yeah,
like
it
we
was
were going
it was wild.
And the traffic was so it's like we thankfully, and I said something about this on Facebook about traffic, but I saw the traffic, but we didn't get like stuck.
No, thank God.
And we have been before stuck.
Yeah, it was terrible.
I mean, it's terrible. So yeah, man.
Okay.
So that's that.
Well, moving on to as seen on social media, the Grammys have happened.
They have.
And we had some first time wins. So Beyonce won Country Music Album of the Year, I believe.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad. I have heard a couple of her songs from that Cowboy Carter, and they're good.
Yeah.
They're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, I haven't heard the album, but I just saw she won. I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, I think that, Beyonce is a phenomenal artist. I don't necessarily.
She's a great entertainer.
She's a great entertainer. When I say I'm not a huge fan of her music, like I'm not a huge fan of Beyonce, like some people where they just.
You're not a part of the Beehive?
Yeah, like I don't listen to her music regularly, but I can acknowledge that she's a really great artist in terms of like she's just one of the best to ever do it. As far as sales, as far as performance, as far as ability, as far as skill, she looks amazing, beautiful. Yeah. She has the not just the looks, but she literally has the skill. She has accomplished so much. I mean, so you can't take anything away from her as an artist. I think this is another feather in her cap, and it's kind of amazing that she's like, oh, I've been doing, pop R&B for the last whatever. I'm gonna do a country album and win a Grammy. It's like. God, if she drop a gospel album, what's gonna happen? I mean, like, it's amazing.
I don't know. I'm happy for her. She had Blue Ivy beside her and Jay-Z.
Yeah,
it was great.
Things. I thought it reminded me though of like, just that word crossover, like that crossover appeal. To where, I say this as a pastor, right? Somebody who does pay attention to gospel music. When you see somebody like a Kanye does a gospel. I don't think he won something for his last
I think
gospel
he might
album
have.
he did.
He also showed up to the Grammys and he was not invited.
Well,
but that's a whole nother thing.
But yeah, so I think for people like in country music, like, dang, Beyonce taking the country. It's like, well, welcome to how we feel when like one secular artist been doing secular for 20 years. They do one gospel record and it blows up and people are like,
black people started country.
Some of those early artists,
yeah, like back in the day, like the blues, country, all that were started
Chuck
by
Berry and stuff like that.
They were started by black people,
like Chuck Berry and all that stuff. I think was he like? I think he was more like. But I think, man, the thing is, it's like it melds together so much. You like, where did this really start? We talk about blues, country, jazz. It's kind of all. It kind of, man, it's American music is what it is. That's really what it is.
Yeah, well, that was in the museum.
But definitely black folks had. But I'm thinking
we should have been reading the things on the cards.
Right. I think more recently though, country music has definitely been dominated by white folks. Nashville, white folks. I mean, it's songwriter capital of the world, as they say. But I do think it's pretty cool for her to do that. Like I said, I think it's a great accomplishment, and
I think it's an opening for other black artists that are like, I love country. Like, I think this is great because there are some, and she actually featured some on her albums. Yeah. So then maybe they can then like go on to like receive.
Yeah.
Awards. Well, hopefully. So I'm happy for her.
Well, she's not the only one that had some Grammys.
Oh no, it was a lot of them. But then also, of course, Kendrick Lamar. He won a Grammy, and this is like the first diss track to ever win a Grammy.
Was it for the whole album or just that main song?
No, I think he actually won a lot of like awards.
I mean, the way he has worked over that diss situation,
but it was good though.
Like, I mean, he's like going in. I mean, to the point you win a Grammy behind it.
He even dissed him through receiving the award by wearing a Canadian tuxedo to the Grammys.
I almost feel like Kendrick, you won, bro. Like, let it go, man. You won,
but
bro.
He has said several times he does not like Drake.
Oh Lord.
And I think he's gonna carry this forever. Like, and I feel poor Drake because like when Kendrick came up to receive the award for They Not Like Us in that part A minor, the whole audience sang along. Wow. Everybody was like vibing to the song. And I was just like, oh gosh, like Drake is going to sue everybody in there because he's already tried to sue like Kendrick Lamar and like whatever record company because he said they were purposely like making him look bad or something like that.
Nobody cares about that. You know why? Drake is going to bounce, not even bounce back. This is just more publicity for his brand, his image, his music. He's going to come out with something new and no one's going to care because he makes, from what I understand, he makes catchy music. He makes kind of, I heard a few of his songs a while back. He makes kind of like, okay. I mean,
I ain't really listened to no Drake songs since, to be honest, college.
Yeah, I was never really on. I've heard some of the songs and it seemed like, he's an entertainer. Like, I think that, but see me, don't start me on this. Because I think people be like really be up in arms about what he doing and they don't like up in arms. It's like, yo, he's an entertainer. What is he supposed to do? Oh, you guys don't like my music? Oh, the three of y'all. But the other 30 million people, they just bought my record. So why am I listening to the three of y'all who don't like me? Kendrick diss, that's more publicity. This just keeps coming up. So I'm like, I mean, whether he's becoming famous by people liking him or dissing him, it's like whether you're listening because you like it or you hate listening, it's like, well, that's still money in his pocket. I don't think he's really all that upset, y'all. I think he's probably like, I guess he's crying all the way to the bank. Or maybe
we just want him to be upset. No, I think he is upset because he decided to want to sue people. So I think he is upset.
I think he's crying all the way to the bank. Like, oh, I'm suing. Oh, so as he wiping his tears with $50 bills, $100 bills.
So I was thinking, not Kendrick. Drake started off as an actor. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, like, what if all this is just an act to him? Right. All of it. Yeah. Every part of it. Yeah. Him being like a rat, just all of it is just an act. He's just like playing the
It's kind of like the whole thing with like Tupac. How people say like his whole thing was like, it was an act.
Yeah.
And you see like some of those early clips of him where he doesn't seem like no hip hop.
No.
He seemed a little more
chill, calm.
Super more chill.
Yeah.
Dare I say, effeminate a little bit. I seen a clip where he seemed a little feminine in the clip. I'm not saying the brother was feminine because I don't know him. But in the clip, this is not y'all know it's not a shot at the man, but he seemed a little, the way he was kind of speaking, and I was like, oh, I didn't expect that.
He was just more toned down than his like rapper persona.
Yeah. So then what people were saying is like the whole rapper part was just like, it was an act. He was an actor, right? And so, you know, I think about stuff like that, you know, and I'm like,
I think Drake is acting, to be honest.
Man, I think there's a lot more people acting than Drake.
Yeah, I really think that Drake is I think that he has continued acting from Degrassi. He's now just carried on to like,
maybe he is. Maybe this is all a show.
I think it's a show. I
maybe
think
if you got him sit down on the couch, he'd be like, man, I'm just playing with y'all. I'm just acting. I make money as an actor, but it's an actor, music person.
I think the world became his stage, and he made good money off of it.
Maybe some people live like that. Some people do that. I think a lot of artists and stuff, but I think a lot of famous people. What I mean is that not all famous people are acting, but I think that a lot more people are put on act. Like, if I do this little, it was like one rapper who was like rapping about using lean, but like, he stopped using it years ago.
Yes,
it's like, man, you don't even use the drugs, man, but you rapping about, you know, sipping this and drinking that and all that, or shooting them up, and it's like, you live in a gated community. You haven't shot anybody. Have you ever shot anybody? Because you shot at somebody one time when you were 14, that'll make you a shooter. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying I'm not a shooter either. I'm just saying, like, man, I think a lot of these folks is acting. It's like, okay, some people did grow up in rough areas, rough neighborhoods, you know, things like that. But just because you fired a weapon, that don't mean like you got bodies. I mean, come on, man. I think some of these people playing with us, but people buying it, you know. So
they are buying it. I personally don't think I could do it. However I am is how I am. I don't know if I could like put on I don't know.
I'm a bad actor, so I mean.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do it. I'm pretty bad at it as well. Yeah. Like, what you see is what you get.
So. Anyway,
okay, we're moving on to the questions that need answers. Shout out to them.
All y'all. I'm next up next year, Corey Butler. Hey, I got 2 albums out too. You know what I'm saying? Come check me out. You know, find me on iTunes. I got, you know, y'all check me out.
You do. They're really good.
Give me a Grammy, y'all. All I need is one. I'll be good. I'll work here with me everywhere.
You're just gonna carry it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the question for today is: if a pastor or leader fails morally, should I still listen to their sermons?
Sheesh. Man, oh man.
That has happened a lot. Like over the course of years, we've seen a lot of like even famous pastors who fail morally, but they've had so many sermons that have helped people, that have encouraged people. So like, do you just like, we're done with that?
Well, I don't think it's become more prevalent now. I think it is always. I mean, people have always fallen. People have always been imperfect.
Yeah,
and done crazy.
But I think we just know about it now because of social media.
And I think it's pushed out more too. You know, every time it happens, it'd be like, oh my goodness,
be on the news, pastor
right? You know what I mean? So I don't think it's happened more now than it used to. I think that we just know about it more, like most things.
Yeah.
You know, all these things most things that happen now, they've always happened. We just know about it more. You know, people post about it, boom, we know about. And as we record this too, I saw another pastor today in Kansas. In Kansas City, he found out he was like, you know, sexually abusing people since like the 70s.
Oh my gosh.
So he's an old guy. He's been around, and the allegations are going back multiple people. They did an investigation. They like the organization like distanced itself from him, but found out it's been multiple people over decades. This guy's been, you know, doing stuff. So, you know, I mean, what do you think? I always give my 2 cents, but like, what do you think? As someone who listens to pastors and, you know,
I think for me, it is hard because then because sometimes it can be difficult to separate your faith from the fact that this was just a person. So, for me, I don't know if I could listen to the sermons anymore. But that I'm just saying for me, that's just my personal, like, I don't think I could, especially if I found out you are out here abusing people.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could listen anymore because I also know I wouldn't be at your church anymore. So I'm not going to be able to listen. And I would just have to really pray about that thing. Like, God, the messages really helped me, but like, what, you know.
Yeah.
What about you?
I do think it's challenging, and I do think, unfortunately, not unfortunately, but no matter what we say, we like categorize it. We categorize stuff differently. You know, like if we find out, you know, you were stealing the money, people be like, man, I'm leaving. That's crazy, bro. Like, but you'd be like, all right, bro, like we all need money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you find out someone's like abusing a child, you'd be like, well, now wait a minute, Doc. That's how we treat it like
there's levels.
It's like it's levels. And there's not levels to sin.
No, it's not. Sin is sin.
I do think there's some things though, man, like if you got your hands in, man, like you probably don't need to be nobody's pastor.
Okay, so
I'm gonna be honest. Like, and I think, and I say that as a pastor, I'm like,
so you,
I think it's some things, man, for the safety of the church, bro, you might not need to be a pastor no more. I ain't saying you can't be a believer. I'm saying, but like if you abusing kids or something, man, like one, like you have to go to jail. Like that's, so for me personally, I feel like not that it's like things are greater sin, but I think there are some things that's like the ministry is probably not in your future any longer.
Yeah, but so would you go back and listen to
the question was about the sermons though.
Yeah, like would you go back and listen to old messages? Because I was saying I don't know if I could.
I don't know. I'm thinking, but I can't think. So I've not had someone where like they had this like big public fall where I was listening to them heavy, and I had to go back and listen. So I don't know.
So we do know of a pastor that has like you've listened to them before and they've like gotten divorced.
Yeah.
We don't know why, but they've gotten divorced. So would you go back and like listen to his messages?
Yeah, I've listened to a couple. Well, I've listened to one or two of his messages since then. I didn't listen to him as much, but before I found it out, I wasn't listening to him as much anyway, like I used to.
Okay, so what about
like 2020, 2021? I listened to him a lot. I probably listened to him like almost every other week.
So what about that one pastor like in Texas? Would you go back and like, because he has a great, he had a great series on like tithing.
We played the series at our church. Like,
would you play it now?
No.
Why not though?
Well, right now we're like a year removed from like him kind of being exposed. But I think it's a little too soon.
So 5 years from now,
maybe, because the word is the word, and the vessel. Like all of us, like myself, is an imperfect vessel. We know that all of us are. I think that so. Well, we skip and slide. I think too, like if someone is repentant, and there's been restoration, that's different. See, I think all this whole thing, not this whole thing, but a lot of stuff with like the failings and fallings and moral failures and stuff that comes out. It's like, is this person like repentant? Did they say like, oh, you know what I'm saying, I've been stealing the church money. Like I've been pocketing that joint like crazy. It's like, is there some new accountability in the church? Have you repented before the church? Y'all church, man, I was taking a handful of the offering. I'm laughing, but it's not funny. I was taking the offering straight out to eat at the church.
We was taking whole families to Golden Corral every Sunday.
Going on vacation with the offering. Like,
we was right in Dominican.
Like, is there been some restoration? I think that's the key. If there's been no repentance and restoration, then it's like, nah, like you ain't got, nah, bro. Like, there's got to be a restoration. I think that if there's been a restoration process and some real accountability, then I don't think it's nothing wrong with listening to a message again. I don't think there's nothing wrong with the person coming back into the ministry after a certain amount of time. You know, and I think that anybody who has a major falling needs to take some time away, and whether they be restored to the ministry or not, you know, I guess that'll be up to their like accountability. I think there are some things where it's like, you know, if it's criminality involved,
they need to go to jail.
It's like if you're like, no, there needs to be charges pressed, then you got to do that. You got to deal with that, the legal system.
Okay, but I think would you still listen to the charge? Like, so the charges have been pressed, but they're in jail. They are in jail, but it's like their sermons are still up on YouTube.
I probably would, if it was something if it was somebody I really if it was somebody I really respected and listened to and got a lot from, I probably would at some point. I probably wouldn't be able to do it immediately.
But like after you've like,
because at the end of the day, I mean, they're a person, you know, and none of us are perfect. No preacher is perfect. So I think that after a while, I probably would, and I don't think it's nothing wrong with listening, because I don't think you can throw a whole person's everything they've done away behind a mistake, or you know what I mean, like one part of their character. I don't think it like everything about you is bad now. It's like, nah, I don't think that's quite fair either, because nobody's perfect in every scenario.
Yeah,
there are things about all of us that need growth and correction and maturity and repentance daily. So I think that to say I can never listen to them again, you know, is tough. But it's tough. But I don't fault anybody for saying that I'm not gonna be able to listen.
Yeah, because I
don't think it's wrong. I can't fault you. Be like, Pastor Corey, you divorced Archer. Like, man, like that's tough. Like, I'm not gonna be. I'm gonna have to lead a church. I just can't get past it. I couldn't fault somebody for that. That's the thing. So I don't think there's a requirement that you have to. But if someone chooses to, and they could be like, you know what, that word blessed me, and they was preaching God's word, okay. But if someone chooses to say, man, I can't see past it, I'm sorry, I got to roll, I understand.
Okay.
That's a tough question, though.
Yeah, I think to be able to do that, though, you have to be able to separate the man from the word.
Yeah.
Which I think can be very difficult for people.
It's difficult. That's it. It's not an easy
it's
thing.
very difficult, especially because as pastors, we put them, I don't want to say on a pedestal, but we shouldn't. But I think that we hold them to a different standard.
Yeah.
And so we're hoping that like their life really does exemplify Christ in all ways. And so sometimes to hear that like they have fallen, they have some type of indiscretions or whatever it was, it's like, well, dang.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tough. And I think it's becoming, this is a good question, because it's become more challenging now than, you know, like I said, I just today literally saw another pastor. Like, oh man, like he's been abusing people for years. Like, it's been a whole investigation. Like,
right.
You know, women, kids. Like, it was
that frustrates me, because it's like, why did this go on for so long?
Well, so I was reading an article. I didn't read the whole thing, but I read an article where it's like, when some people did try to come forward, it was some of the other leadership, you know, kind of put their hand on it and didn't allow it. So that turned out to be
the leadership.
Yeah,
they need to go to jail too.
So it seemed like
everybody.
It may be another situation like with, I don't know, we have to come back to there every week, but like with the other pastor, we already talked about it. I mean, just look it up. But where it was like some people may have known and just, oh no, it wasn't like that. It was a mistake or indiscretion type of thing. From what I saw in the article, it wasn't just him just moving in secret for years.
Hopefully that organization deals with everybody.
Listen, at Rock Church,
you're done.
Listen, if someone comes and be in my church and tells me they're being abused by someone in the church, you're going to jail, and it doesn't matter who it is.
I said
we're not, and I pray, Lord, give us grace to handle this stuff right, because I do not. My friend talking about this all the time, and because he had a situation where like a guy said something to him, wasn't sure if it was underage. He said, my friend went to the police.
Yeah.
And the police ended up talking to the guy. He ended up getting away because the guy literally didn't know. I guess he was talking to a 17-year-old girl.
Okay.
He said it was nothing that gave indication that he was. So he didn't do anything. But all the same, my friend reported the guy because he said, listen, I don't know. And I ain't going to have it the way you done told me. Right. And I just be like, oh no, we just going to pray for you. No, brother. If someone underage is involved, or if it's an abusive thing, like, no, we got to know. So anyway, all that to say, you know, I'm believing that we have that same
I literally had that same talk with our children's ministry workers when we did like a training a while ago. Yeah. I was like, I told them, I said, I have no issues with calling the police on people.
Absolutely not.
You will be underneath the jail if I find out that you're doing anything. You're going to jail. We're going to, and anyone that knows about it,
and we're going to tell them press charges.
Is going to jail.
We're going to tell that family press charges against you. You have to go to jail. We can't have that.
You're going to jail.
And we getting past our time, but I think too. We say it kind of, we smiling, but it's serious.
No, I'm very serious.
It's serious because, and I pray. I'm not saying it's be easy. I'm not saying if someone says one of our main leaders, I'm not saying that's easy. I'm sure that would be a brutal blow for any ministry or any organization. But I do think that we've had so many years, and we've seen so many situations where people came forward. And the elders said, no, don't worry about it. Or the deacons let the person, or man or woman, let them slide. And then they abuse people for 10, 20 years. So I think we've seen enough cases in the church to where people have come forward and said, oh, when I was 13, I told the mother, I told the deacon, I told the elder what the person did.
Yeah.
But they told me, oh, no, we'll take care of it, and nothing happened.
Yeah.
So I think that for us, I think as a church, we don't get that runway anymore. You know what I mean? I feel like we don't get that runway. Like if someone is being taken advantage of, like we have to say something, and we have to say, I'm sorry, but like if you've placed your hands on one of our kids, not even I'm sorry,
or not even just one of the kids, but like anyone,
people, if you're taking advantage,
you're
of
done.
People, if you're spiritual abusing, if you, and I'm not gonna go down the list up, but like we got to address this right now. And I'm gonna listen. I ain't gonna get what I said, but listen, there's been situations that I maybe stepped too quick because I want wait a minute. Oh.
Yeah.
Are we off? I'm looking into it. Are we off the rails? Because we can't roll like that around here. And I said, oh, my bad. Oh, I'm sorry.
Already, but
I must have got some wrong information. But I figured I had to make sure, because we can't have that. Not that we can control people and make them do what we want, but we want to have a safe environment, a safe church.
I mean, church should be the place where you feel the safest.
Yeah. So I pray God gives us grace. I pray we never have to.
Yeah.
Do that. I pray I never have to call the police for anybody in our church. But God, I pray he gives us strength to do it if we have to, and hold people accountable.
Yeah, we've
so anyway,
we've gone off topic.
Way off. But yeah, so anyway, that's that. So y'all let us know if you listen to these folks.
Yeah, it's not right or wrong. I think it's really between you and God, honestly. Yeah. And yeah. But so alrighty.
Rock Church. We'll see y'all on Sunday. This Sunday, y'all, is our Super Bowl Sunday.
Yes.
So we're having Jersey Sunday. So wear your jerseys. If you don't have on Las Vegas Raiders gear, I'm going to preach you underneath of the chairs. I'm gonna preach nothing but hellfire and brimstone for 2 hours. If I don't see everybody in black and silver. No, have your sports gear on, and we're doing our tailgate right after service.
Yes.
So we're having food, we're having fellowship, we're hanging out. So I want to see y'all there this Sunday.
See ya.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Peace.